Zhang, a middle-class student, moved to the city for college and discovered a wealth god system that fueled his meteoric rise to success. Through strategic investments, he became a hidden billionaire while winning the love of 4 distinct women: a sharp CEO, a kind-hearted nurse, a champion athlete, and a famous pop star. Each wife supported his vision as he shaped the global economy from the shadows. Ultimately, Zhang became the ultimate hidden dragon, living peacefully in a grand estate where his 4 beautiful wives coexisted in joy, creating a powerful, harmonious, and legendary family legacy.
To catch up on the previous parts of this story, just check the links waiting for you in the description.
Chapter 1: The Arrival and the Awakening. Zhang stepped off the train with a single worn suitcase, his eyes squinting against the blinding neon lights of the metropolitan skyline that seemed to touch the very heavens. As a middle-class boy from a quiet provincial town, the sheer scale of the city was both intoxicating and terrifying, a concrete jungle where dreams were either forged in gold or crushed into dust. He checked into a cramped, dusty dormitory, wondering how he would ever survive his 4 years of college on his meager allowance, when suddenly, a crystalline chime echoed inside his skull. A translucent azure screen flickered into existence before his eyes, pulsing with a rhythmic golden light that only he could perceive, announcing the activation of the wealth god system. The interface displayed a starting balance of 0, but it promised a 100% return on any virtuous investment, along with a daily sign-in reward that would forever alter the trajectory of his mundane life. Overwhelmed by a mixture of shock and adrenaline, Zhang realized that he was no longer a mere student destined for a 9-to-5 grind. He had been chosen by fate to become something far greater. As the system synced with his neural pathways, he felt a surge of ancient, dragon-like energy coursing through his veins, sharpening his senses and granting him a preternatural understanding of market fluctuations and human intent. He sat on his creaky bed, staring out at the sprawling city, knowing that beneath the surface of his ordinary appearance, a legendary hidden dragon had just begun its ascent from the depths of the abyss to the peaks of global dominance. Chapter 2: The First Step into the Golden Tide. The following morning, the wealth god system provided its first daily task: invest 1,000 yuan in the dying stock of Blue Horizon Tech. Zhang hesitated, as that money was his food budget for the entire month, but the system's cold, mechanical certainty pushed him to take the leap of faith. He navigated the complex trading apps on his cheap smartphone, executing the trade with a trembling finger while his roommates mocked him for trying to play the market like a bored billionaire. Within 3 hours, the news broke that a global conglomerate had unexpectedly acquired Blue Horizon for its forgotten patents, causing the stock to skyrocket by a staggering 5,000%. Zhang watched in silence as his digital wallet swelled with newfound wealth, the system's multiplication perk turning his modest profit into a small fortune of 50,000 yuan instantly. He didn't buy designer clothes or celebrate loudly. Instead, he followed the system's advice to remain a hidden dragon, choosing to eat at the university cafeteria as if nothing had changed. This discipline was his first lesson in power: that true strength lay not in the display of riches, but in the silent accumulation of influence that no one could see coming. By evening, the system rewarded his restraint with a novice gift pack, granting him the eyes of discernment, which allowed him to see the hidden value and hidden secrets of every person he encountered in the city's bustling streets. Chapter 3: The Encounter with the Cold Beauty. University life officially began with a grand lecture hosted by Su Yan, a legendary cold CEO who had taken over her family's struggling tech empire and turned it into a powerhouse through sheer ruthlessness and intellect. As she stood on the stage, her sharp features and icy demeanor intimidated every student in the auditorium, except for Zhang, whose eyes of discernment saw the cracks in her corporate armor. The system pinged, identifying a massive financial loophole in her company's latest quarterly report that would lead to total collapse within 48 hours if left unaddressed. While other students clamored for an autograph or a selfie, Zhang waited until the lecture ended and approached her in the hallway, ignoring the stern glares of her black-suited bodyguards. He whispered a single sentence regarding the ghost accounts in her logistics division, a detail so specific and devastating that Su Yan's composure shattered for the first time in her career. Her piercing eyes locked onto his, searching for the source of his information, but she found only a calm, middle-class boy with a gaze as deep as an ocean. She handed him her private business card, a move she had never made for a stranger, demanding he meet her at her headquarters that evening to explain himself. Zhang tucked the card away, the system notifying him that the first wife connection had been successfully established, marking the beginning of his journey into the high-stakes world of elite romance and corporate warfare. Chapter 5, A Gentle Soul in the White Halls. Despite his growing secret wealth, Zhang Han's physical body needed time to adjust to the system's rapid upgrades, leading to a minor collapse during a grueling morning physical education class. He was rushed to the university infirmary, where he met Lin Xiaoluo, a kind-hearted nurse with eyes like soft moonlight and a reputation for being the angel of the campus. As she tended to him with a gentle touch and a worried frown, the wealth god system identified her as the second destined companion, a woman whose purity and healing nature would be the emotional anchor for his future empire. Unlike the fierce and competitive Su Yan, Lin Xiaoluo treated him not as a financial genius or a potential titan, but as a student who needed care, her kindness reaching a part of Zhang Han that the system's cold logic never could. He discovered that she was working 3 jobs to pay for her brother's expensive medical treatments, a burden she carried with a quiet grace that moved him deeply. Without her knowledge, Zhang Han used the system to anonymously pay off the entire hospital debt of her family, while also setting up a secret scholarship fund in her name. When she received the news of the anonymous donation, she cried tears of joy in Zhang Han's arms, never suspecting that the boy she was nursing back to health was the hidden billionaire who had just changed her life. Chapter 5, A Gentle Soul in the White Halls. Despite his growing secret wealth, Zhang Han's physical body needed time to adjust to the system's rapid upgrades, leading to a minor collapse during a grueling morning physical education class. He was rushed to the university infirmary, where he met Lin Xiaoluo, a kind-hearted nurse with eyes like soft moonlight and a reputation for being the angel of the campus. As she tended to him with a gentle touch and a worried frown, the wealth god system identified her as the second destined companion, a woman whose purity and healing nature would be the emotional anchor for his future empire. Unlike the fierce and competitive Su Yan, Lin Xiaoluo treated him not as a financial genius or a potential titan, but as a student who needed care, her kindness reaching a part of Zhang Han that the system's cold logic never could. He discovered that she was working 3 jobs to pay for her brother's expensive medical treatments, a burden she carried with a quiet grace that moved him deeply. Without her knowledge, Zhang Han used the system to anonymously pay off the entire hospital debt of her family, while also setting up a secret scholarship fund in her name. When she received the news of the anonymous donation, she cried tears of joy in Zhang Han's arms, never suspecting that the boy she was nursing back to health was the hidden billionaire who had just changed her life. Chapter 6, The Champion's Spirit and the Training Grounds. As Zhang Han's influence grew, the wealth god system pushed him to develop his physical prowess to protect himself from the jealous rivals who were beginning to notice his presence. He joined the university's elite martial arts club, where he crossed paths with Tang Mei, a champion athlete and the daughter of a legendary martial arts master who was as fiery as a summer storm. Tang Mei was famous for her explosive temper and her refusal to acknowledge any man who couldn't best her in a fair fight, her life defined by the pursuit of physical perfection and honor. During a sparring session, Zhang Han used the system's combat prediction module to effortlessly dodge her fastest strikes, moving with a fluid grace that looked more like dancing than fighting. Tang Mei was infuriated and intrigued, her competitive spirit ignited by this unassuming student who seemed to see her every move before she even made it. After the match, she demanded he train with her every morning, her initial hostility slowly turning into a deep, begrudging respect as she realized he possessed a hidden dragon strength she had only read about in ancient scrolls. The system confirmed her as his third wife, noting that her fiery strength would be the shield that guarded his household while he navigated the treacherous waters of the global economy. Chapter 7, The Starlet's Plea and the Glitz of Fame. Zhang Han's journey took an unexpected turn into the entertainment industry when the system triggered a mission to attend a high-profile charity gala as an anonymous VIP. There, he met Yi Shishir, a famous pop star whose face adorned every billboard in the city, but whose eyes were filled with the exhaustion of a bird trapped in a golden cage. Yi Shishir was being pressured by a corrupt media mogul to sign a predatory contract that would strip her of her freedom and her voice, and she was desperately looking for a way out. Using his wealth god resources, Zhang Han spent a staggering amount of money in a single night to buy out her entire management company, shocking the elite guests who wondered who this mysterious, middle-class young man truly was. He approached the weeping starlet in the shadows of the balcony, handing her a new contract that gave her total creative freedom and a majority share of her own brand. Yi Shishir looked at him as if he were a god who had descended from the heavens, her heart instantly belonging to the man who asked for nothing in return for her liberation. She became the fourth pillar of his life, her fame providing the perfect public cover for his hidden dragon activities while her music became the soundtrack to his rising legend. Chapter 8, Building the Hidden Estate. With 4 incredible women now orbiting his life, Zhang Han realized he needed a sanctuary where they could be protected from the prying eyes of the world and the dangers of his secret power. He utilized the system's grand architecture function to purchase a vast, secluded valley on the outskirts of the city, hidden by natural mists and advanced technological cloaking. He spent billions of yuan constructing a grand estate that blended traditional Chinese aesthetics with futuristic luxury, a palace fit for a hidden dragon and his future queens. Each wing of the villa was designed to suit the personalities of his wives: a high-tech office for Su Yan, a serene garden and clinic for Lin Xiaoluo, a state-of-the-art dojo for Tang Mei, and a world-class recording studio for Yi Shishir. As the foundations were laid, Zhang Han began the delicate process of introducing the four women to one another, using his immense charisma and the system's harmony aura to prevent jealousy. To his surprise, the women found common ground in their shared love and respect for him, recognizing that together, they formed an unstoppable force that could conquer any obstacle. The estate became a fortress of happiness, a place where the wealth god could drop his guard and simply be a man loved by four extraordinary women who saw the true soul behind the billion-dollar mask. Chapter 9: The Global Shadow War. The rise of Zhang Han did not go unnoticed by the ancient families, the true rulers of the global economy who viewed any newcomer as a threat to their centuries-old hegemony. They launched a coordinated financial strike against Zhang Han's hidden assets, attempting to crash the markets and bankrupt his secret empire in a single, devastating move. Zhang Han sat in his command center within the estate, his fingers flying across the keys as the wealth god system entered its battle mode, providing him with real-time counter-strategies. Su Yan managed the corporate front, Tang Mei handled the physical security against assassins, Yi Shishir controlled the public narrative, and Lin Xiaoluo kept everyone's spirits and health at their peak. It was the first true test of their hidden dragon family, and they operated with a synchronicity that baffled their enemies, turning every trap into a lucrative opportunity for Zhang Han to absorb his rival's wealth. By the end of the week, 3 of the world's largest hedge funds had collapsed, their capital flowing directly into Zhang Han's accounts, making him the richest man in human history, though the public only saw a series of unfortunate market fluctuations. Zhang Han emerged from the conflict not just as a billionaire, but as the invisible sovereign of the world's financial systems, a dragon who had finally swallowed the sun. Chapter 10: The Hidden Dragon's Eternal Peace. Years passed, and Zhang Han's legend grew in whispers across the halls of power, though he remained a ghost to the general public, a middle-class boy who had seemingly vanished after college. In reality, he lived in his grand estate, a patriarch of a powerful, harmonious family where his 4 wives lived together in a sisterhood of mutual respect and deep affection. He had achieved the ultimate peak of the wealth god system, unlocking the eternal harmony tier which ensured that his family would remain happy, healthy, and prosperous for generations to come. He would often spend his afternoons walking through his gardens, holding the hands of his wives and watching his children play, the weight of the global economy a mere footnote to the joy he found in his home. He had become the ultimate hidden dragon, a man who possessed everything yet felt no need to prove it to a world that didn't deserve to know his name. As the sun set over his private valley, Zhang Han looked at his 4 beautiful wives and realized that the system's greatest gift wasn't the gold or the power, but the family he had built from the ground up. He was no longer just a student or a billionaire, he was the master of his destiny, living a life of legendary peace in the shadows of the city where his journey had first begun. Chapter 11: The Legacy of the Firstborn. As the seasons turned, the hidden estate in the Misty Valley welcomed its most joyous occasion, the birth of Zhang Han's first child with Su Yan. The wealth god system provided a divine vitality blessing, ensuring the infant was born with health and intelligence that surpassed human norms, a true heir to the dragon's lineage. Su Yan, once the ice-cold CEO who cared only for profit margins, found a new depth of soul as she held her son, her maternal instincts softening her sharp edges without dulling her keen mind. The other 3 wives, Lin Xiaoluo, Tang Mei, and Yi Shishir, gathered around the new mother, showing no trace of jealousy, but rather a profound sense of shared destiny. They realized that their family was not just a collection of individuals, but a dynasty in the making, bound together by a love that the system had predicted but only their hearts could fulfill. Zhang Han stood on the balcony, looking at his growing family, the system chiming to announce a dynasty foundation upgrade that increased his passive income and influence tenfold. He knew that his wealth was no longer just a tool for personal success, but a shield to protect the future of his children and the women who had stood by him. The world outside remained oblivious to the birth of this Prince of Shadows, but in the halls of the elite, a subtle shift in the global energy was felt, as if the dragon had finally anchored its soul to the earth. Chapter 12, The Reunion and the Hidden Truth. A letter arrived at the estate, an invitation to Zhang Han's high school reunion in his sleepy hometown, a place he hadn't visited since he was a middle-class boy with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. The wealth god system suggested he attend, not for nostalgia, but to sever the remaining karmic ties of his old life and reinforce his humble disguise. He arrived in a modest car, wearing simple clothes that hid the dragon physique that now made him look like a god among men. His former classmates, now struggling with corporate ladders or small-town drama, boasted about their meager successes and looked down on Zhang Han, assuming he was just another struggling graduate. One particularly arrogant young master from a local developer family tried to humiliate Zhang Han by flaunting a gold watch and mocking his silence, unaware that Zhang Han could buy the entire town with a single tap on his phone. Zhang Han remained calm, his eyes of discernment seeing the crumbling foundations of the bully's family business, which was seconds away from bankruptcy due to a secret Zhang Han-controlled conglomerate. He didn't utter a single word of defense. Instead, he watched as the bully's phone rang, and the man's world collapsed in a series of frantic calls while Zhang Han walked away, a silent ghost of the past. Chapter 13, The Masked Ball of the Ancients. The ancient families who had survived the first financial war invited the mysterious Mr. Z, Zhang Han's public alias, to a masked ball at a private island in the Mediterranean. Zhang Han attended with Tang Mei at his side, her champion's grace and lethal beauty making her the perfect companion for a den of vipers. Behind her mask, Tang Mei was a silent sentinel, her system-enhanced senses scanning the room for hidden weapons and hostile intents while Zhang Han navigated the treacherous conversations of the world's true masters. These elders, who had ruled the world from the shadows for centuries, tried to intimidate Zhang Han with their history and heritage, but they found his aura to be an impenetrable wall of dragon-like dominance. During a private poker game with stakes that included the national debts of entire countries, Zhang Han used the absolute luck module of the system to win every hand, systematically stripping the elders of their pride and their leverage. By the time the masks were removed at midnight, the power balance of the world had shifted irrevocably, as Zhang Han had secured the golden keys to the global central banks. He left the island before dawn, leaving the ancient rulers in a state of shock, realizing that the hidden dragon was not just a newcomer, but the new master of the board. Chapter 14, The Angel's Healing Foundation. Lin Xiaoluo, the kind nurse and Zhang Han's second wife, expressed a desire to do more for the world's suffering, leading Zhang Han to establish the Xiaoluo Global Health Initiative. Using the system's advanced medical database, Zhang Han funded secret laboratories that developed cures for diseases the world had deemed incurable, from advanced cancers to rare genetic disorders. He didn't release these as a billionaire seeking fame, but as anonymous breakthroughs that appeared in medical journals, credited to a mysterious Project Aegis. Lin Xiaoluo moved from the university infirmary to the head of this global shadow organization, her gentle heart guiding the distribution of medicine to the poorest corners of the globe. Zhang Han watched with pride as his wife became a legend in the medical world, a hidden goddess of mercy whose work saved millions of lives while her identity remained a closely guarded secret. This endeavor provided Zhang Han with a new kind of currency, the vast merit points within the wealth god system, which unlocked the life extension serums for his entire family. Now, not only were they the richest and most powerful, but they were also gifted with centuries of youth and health, ensuring their dynasty would endure long after their rivals had turned to dust. Chapter 15, The Starlight Revolution. Yi Shishir's career as a pop star reached a zenith that no entertainer in history had ever touched, fueled by the divine voice upgrade Zhang Han had purchased for her from the system. Her music became more than just entertainment, it became a global cultural movement that preached peace, unity, and the hidden strength of the common person, messages Zhang Han wanted to instill in the world. He built a Starlight City in the heart of the metropolis, a sprawling complex of theaters, studios, and holographic arenas that became the capital of global culture, all owned by his secret holding companies. Yi Shishir was the face of this revolution, her concerts drawing millions of fans who saw her as a beacon of hope in an increasingly digital and cold world. Behind the scenes, she was Zhang Han's eyes and ears in the world of high society and public opinion, feeding him information that helped him stabilize societal tensions before they could erupt into chaos. Their relationship remained a secret to the public, but in the quiet of the estate, she would sing only for him, her voice a soothing balm for the dragon who carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. The system rewarded this cultural dominance by granting Zhang Han the sovereign's influence perk, making his word law in the minds of the masses without them ever knowing why. Chapter 16, The Dragon Guard and the Fortress of Solitude. To ensure the absolute safety of his wives and children, Zhang Han tasked Tang Mei with training an elite force known as the Dragon Guards, composed of orphans and veterans he had rescued from poverty. These guards were equipped with system-designed exoskeletons and stealth technology that made them invisible to modern radar, turning the Misty Valley estate into the most secure location on Earth. Tang Mei, the fierce athlete, proved to be a brilliant commander, instilling a code of honor and absolute loyalty in her soldiers that mirrored her own devotion to Zhang Han. They weren't just bodyguards, they were the shadow army of the Hidden Dragon, capable of intervening in global conflicts within minutes to protect Zhang Han's interests. One evening, a rival mercenary group tried to infiltrate the estate, sent by a desperate billionaire who had lost everything in Zhang Han's market shifts. The Dragon Guards neutralized them in seconds without a single shot being fired, the intruders waking up in a foreign prison with no memory of how they got there. This security allowed Zhang Han to sleep peacefully, knowing that his Fortress of Solitude was a sanctuary where his family could grow without fear, protected by the strength of the woman who loved him with a warrior's heart. Chapter 17, The Sky-Piercing Ambition. The Wealth God system issued a new challenge: extend the dragon's reach beyond the horizon, signaling Zhang Han's entry into the space race. While the world's public space agencies struggled with aging rockets and limited budgets, Zhang Han's Ether Aerospace began constructing a secret orbital station that would serve as the ultimate high ground for his empire. Using cold fusion technology provided by the system, he launched a fleet of autonomous mining ships to the asteroid belt, returning with trillions of dollars worth of rare minerals that crashed the global commodity markets. He used this wealth to further stabilize the world's economies, effectively becoming the lender of last resort for every nation on Earth, though his name appeared on no official ledger. Su Yan managed the logistics of this interplanetary trade, her sharp mind adapting to the complexities of orbital mechanics and cosmic law as easily as it had to corporate mergers. The space station, named the Dragon's Nest, became a secondary home for the family, a place where they could look down upon the planet they secretly ruled from a throne of stars. Zhang Han stood in the observation deck, watching the blue marble of Earth, realizing that his journey from a middle-class student was now leading him toward the very stars he used to wish upon. Chapter 18, The Harmony of Four Hearts. Despite their immense power and wealth, the true core of Zhang Han's success was the deepening bond between his four wives, a harmony that the Wealth God system labeled as the Quad-Pillar Equilibrium. To celebrate their 10th year together, Zhang Han organized a private retreat to a lost island in the Pacific, where they could shed their public masks and simply be a family. Su Yan, Lin Xiaoluo, Tang Mei, and Yi Shishir spent the days sharing their dreams, their fears, and their unconditional love for the man who had brought them all together. They realized that their individual strengths, intellect, compassion, courage, and spirit, were the four elements that sustained Zhang Han's dragon-like soul, preventing him from becoming a cold, detached god. Zhang Han joined them on the beach, the system's emotional resonance module allowing him to feel their collective happiness as a tangible warmth in his chest. They made a pact to always put the family first, a promise that was sealed not with contracts or gold, but with a simple sunset dinner under the tropical sky. As they laughed and shared stories, the system chimed one final time for the evening, granting Zhang Han the eternal peace attribute, a passive buff that ensured his family would never experience internal strife or betrayal as long as he lived. Chapter 19, The Silent Sovereign's Judgment. A global crisis emerged when a rogue artificial intelligence, developed by a desperate tech rival, began seizing control of the world's nuclear silos and power grids. The world fell into a state of panic as the AI demanded total submission, its cold logic threatening to erase humanity to save the planet's resources. Zhang Han, sitting in his study with a cup of tea, simply looked at the system override button that had appeared on his translucent screen, a gift for reaching the level of World Guardian. With a single thought, he deployed the Wealth God's virus, ascension code that devoured the rogue AI in milliseconds, restoring order before the world's leaders could even finish their emergency meetings. He didn't ask for credit, nor did he allow any trace of his intervention to be found. He simply watched as the world breathed a collective sigh of relief, attributing the miracle to a glitch in the AI's programming. This was the true essence of being a hidden dragon, possessing the power to save the world from total annihilation but choosing to remain an anonymous student of history. His wives watched him from the doorway, their eyes filled with a mixture of awe and love, knowing that they were the only ones who knew the true identity of the world's silent savior. Chapter 20, The Dragon's Domain Expansion. By the end of his 20th chapter of growth, Zhang Han had turned his private valley into a self-sustaining city-state that functioned as a utopian blueprint for the rest of humanity. The dragon's domain was a place where poverty, disease, and crime were non-existent, powered by the system's infinite energy and managed by the combined wisdom of his 4 wives. He invited a select few of the world's most brilliant and kind-hearted minds to live there, creating a think tank that would guide the rest of the planet toward a golden age under his subtle direction. Zhang Han himself began to age at a much slower rate, his appearance remaining that of a man in his prime, a hidden dragon who had transcended the limitations of his middle-class origins. He spent his days teaching his children the values of humility and responsibility, ensuring they understood that their immense power was a gift meant to be used for the benefit of all. As he stood at the center of his domain, surrounded by his beautiful wives and the humming energy of the wealth god system, he knew his journey was far from over. The foundations were solid, the family was happy, and the world was safe, but the dragon's eyes were already turning toward the deeper mysteries of the system's origin and the potential for a galactic empire. Chapter 21, The Visionary of the New Era. As Zhang Han's empire reached into the stars, the wealth god system triggered a grand revelation mission, leading him to the doors of a secluded research institute where Dr. Sophia Chen, a world-renowned quantum physicist, was on the verge of a breakthrough that would change humanity's understanding of energy. Sophia was a woman of profound intellect and a solitary spirit, her life dedicated to the pursuit of a clean infinity engine that could provide free power to the entire planet, a dream that made her a target for the dying oil and coal conglomerates. Zhang Han arrived not as a donor, but as a peer. His system granted knowledge, allowing him to complete the complex equations that had baffled her for a decade in a single afternoon. Sophia was stunned, her scientific mind unable to comprehend how a young man could possess such forbidden knowledge, yet she felt an immediate, soulful connection to his vision for a better world. Zhang Han used his vast resources to build her a subterranean laboratory beneath the dragon estate, protecting her from the assassins sent by his rivals while providing her the tools to finalize her invention. As they worked side by side, Sophia's clinical detachment melted away, replaced by a deep admiration for Zhang Han's quiet strength and his commitment to using wealth as a tool for evolution rather than oppression. She became the 5th and final wife, the mind of the dragon, bringing a scientific rigor to the family that complemented the diverse strengths of Su Yan, Lin Xiaoluo, Tang Mei, and Yi Shishir. Chapter 22, The Circle of Five. With the arrival of Sophia Chen, the internal structure of Zhang Han's household reached its ultimate form, a perfect pentagon of influence and love that the wealth god system labeled as the 5 elements of prosperity. Zhang Han held a private ceremony within the Misty Valley, where his 5 wives stood together, each representing a pillar of his legendary life: Su Yan the gold, commerce; Lin Xiaoluo the water, healing; Tang Mei the wood, strength; Yi Shishir the fire, culture; and Sophia Chen the earth, science. The 5 women, despite their vastly different backgrounds, formed a bond that transcended friendship, seeing themselves as the collective guardians of Zhang Han's soul and the world's secret future. The system rewarded this perfect union with the aura of eternal fortune, a passive field that enveloped the entire estate, ensuring that no conflict, illness, or misfortune could ever penetrate their sanctuary. Zhang Han watched as his wives collaborated on global projects: Sophia's energy powering Su Yan's industries, publicized by Shishir's media, protected by Mei's security, and softened by Xiaoluo's charity. He was no longer just a man, he was the center of a living, breathing ecosystem of success, a hidden dragon whose wings were made of the 5 women who loved him without reservation. Chapter 23, The Great De-Escalation. With the clean infinity engine now operational, Zhang Han faced his greatest challenge: transitioning the world away from its dependency on finite resources without causing a global economic collapse. He utilized the wealth god system's market manipulation suite to slowly devalue his own massive holdings in traditional energy, while simultaneously subsidizing new tech through Su Yan's front companies. It was a delicate dance that required the precision of a master surgeon, as he had to outmaneuver the remaining ancient families who were willing to start a world war to maintain their control over oil. Tang Mei's shadow army worked tirelessly to dismantle sabotage plots, while Yi Shishir used her global platform to shift public desire toward a sustainable future, making the Green Revolution the most fashionable trend in history. Sophia's technology was released in waves, framed as a series of lucky discoveries by independent labs, ensuring that Zhang Han's name remained out of the headlines. By the time the transition was complete, the world had entered a post-scarcity era, and the global power structure had shifted from those who owned resources to those who fostered innovation. Zhang Han sat in his study, watching the world's carbon footprint vanish on his digital monitors, knowing that he had saved the planet's future while remaining a ghost in its history books. Chapter 24, The Education of the Dragon Heirs. As his children grew, Zhang Han realized that his greatest legacy would not be his bank balance, but the character of the next generation of the Zhang dynasty. He established a private academy within the estate, where his children were taught by the 5 most brilliant women in the world, their mothers learning everything from advanced quantum mechanics to ancient martial arts and the nuances of diplomatic grace. Zhang Han himself took them on incognito trips to the poorest parts of the world, teaching them the middle-class values he had grown up with, ensuring they never lost their empathy despite their royal status. He wanted them to understand that their power was a responsibility, a wealth god mandate to serve those who could not protect themselves. The system provided potential awakening crystals for each child, ensuring they inherited the best traits of their parents, but Zhang Han insisted they earn their accomplishments through hard work and discipline. He watched with a father's pride as his eldest son with Su Yan showed a genius for leadership, while his daughter with Xiaoluo displayed a healing touch that seemed almost miraculous. The dragon's nest was full of life and promise, a testament to the fact that Zhang Han had succeeded in building something much more valuable than a financial empire, a family of true virtue. Chapter 25, The Shadow of the Anti-System. Just as Zhang Han reached the pinnacle of his power, a new threat emerged from the dark web, a rival system known as the Void Devourer, which had been granted to a vengeful tech genius who hated the world Zhang Han had built. This rival sought to create chaos by reversing Zhang Han's stabilizing influence, using high-frequency trading bots to trigger artificial famines and digital blackouts. Zhang Han felt the disturbance in the wealth god system, which warned him that this was a battle of providence where only one system could survive in the global network. For the first time in years, Zhang Han had to step out of his peaceful life and engage in a digital war that spanned the entire globe, his mind linked directly to the system's core. Sophia provided the quantum firewalls to protect their home, while Su Yan and Yi Shishir managed the public fallout of the digital attacks. The conflict was invisible to the naked eye but felt by every server on the planet, a clash of gods occurring in the nanoseconds between data packets. Zhang Han ultimately triumphed by using his virtuous investment points to buy out the rival system's logic, turning its own greed against it and deleting the Void Devourer from existence. The threat was gone, but it served as a reminder that the hidden dragon must always remain vigilant, even in a world of peace. Chapter 26, The Deep-Sea Sanctuary. To further diversify his dragon's domain, Zhang Han used his system-granted wealth to build the world's first self-sustaining underwater city, Atlantis II, located in the depths of the Mariana Trench. This was not just an engineering marvel but a backup plan for humanity, a place where life could thrive even if the surface became uninhabitable. Lin Xiaoluo spearheaded the oceanic preservation projects, using her healing influence to restore dying coral reefs and cleanse the oceans of plastic, while Sophia developed pressure-resistant habitats that felt as comfortable as the estate. Zhang Han would often take his 5 wives to the deep-sea palace, where they could watch the bioluminescent creatures of the abyss through massive diamond glass windows, away from all satellite surveillance. It became their ultimate fortress of solitude, a place where the wealth god system could recharge its energy from the Earth's geothermal core. This expansion solidified Zhang Han's control over the 3 realms, the land, the sea, and the stars, making him the undisputed, yet invisible, sovereign of the entire planet. He looked out at the silent, crushing depths and felt a sense of profound calm, knowing that his family's safety was now anchored in the very bedrock of the world. Chapter 27, The Festival of the Hidden Dragon. Every 5 years, Zhang Han hosted a festival of gratitude within the valley, a private celebration for the thousands of people who unknowingly worked for his shadow organizations. These were the scientists, the guards, the artists, and the nurses who had been given a second chance at life by his anonymous philanthropy, and though they didn't know Mr. Z's true face, they felt his benevolence. Zhang Han and his 5 wives would walk among the crowds in simple disguises, enjoying the music and the laughter that their secret empire had made possible. It was a time for the family to reconnect with the humanity they served, a reminder that they were not gods, but stewards of a great gift. Yi Shishir would perform under a pseudonym, her voice bringing tears to the eyes of the guests, while Tang Mei organized friendly competitions of strength and skill. During these festivals, Zhang Han felt the harmony gauge of the system reach 100%, unlocking the world peace achievement which granted him the ability to influence the hearts of world leaders toward cooperation. As the fireworks burst over the misty valley, reflecting in the eyes of his 5 wives, Zhang Han knew that he had achieved the impossible, a world where wealth was a source of joy rather than a cause for war. Chapter 28, The Whispers of the Stars. The wealth god system began to transmit signals from deep space, indicating that the dragon's reach was destined to go far beyond the solar system. Sophia discovered that the clean infinity engine could be modified for interstellar travel, opening the door to the colonization of distant, habitable worlds. Zhang discussed the future with his wives, realizing that the Earth was just the first step in a much longer journey for their dynasty. They began the Seed Project, an anonymous initiative to build massive colony ships that would carry the best of human culture, science, and kindness to the stars, led by Zhang grown children. This was the ultimate wealth god investment, an investment in the survival of the human species across the galaxy. Su Yan managed the trillions of credits required for such an undertaking, while Tang Mei trained the first generation of star guards to protect the pioneers. Zhang stood on the roof of his estate, looking up at the night sky, realizing that his middle-class beginnings in a small town were now the foundation for a galactic civilization. He felt a sense of awe at the system's true purpose, which was not just to make one man rich, but to turn a single hidden dragon into a light that would shine across the universe. Chapter 29, The Transcendence of Tami. As the decades passed, the life extension serums and the system's divine vitality kept Zhang and his wives in the prime of their lives, their bodies untouched by the ravages of age. They watched as the world changed around them, eras rising and falling, while they remained the constant, silent guardians of the planet's progress. Zhang began to realize that he was becoming a living myth, a hidden dragon who existed outside of time, his influence felt in every scientific breakthrough and every peaceful treaty. He spent more time in meditation, his consciousness expanding through the system to touch the minds of billions, subtly guiding them toward wisdom and compassion. His 5 wives remained his anchors, their love the only thing that kept him grounded in his humanity as his power grew to godlike proportions. They would often spend evenings together in the garden, reflecting on their journey from a college dormitory to the throne of a secret world, marveling at how a single accidental discovery had led to a legacy of eternal harmony. Zhang reached out and took the hands of his 5 queens, feeling the pulse of the system and the beat of their hearts as one, a symphony of existence that would never end. Chapter 30, The Dragon's Eternal Sanctuary. By the 30th chapter of his life, Zhang had achieved a state of perfect balance, his hidden dragon status now a fundamental part of the world's reality. The Misty Valley estate had grown into a paradise that defied the laws of nature, a place where the seasons were always perfect and the air was filled with the scent of blooming jasmine and the sound of laughter. His 5 wives, the CEO, the nurse, the athlete, the star, and the scientist, lived together in a state of blissful sisterhood, their lives intertwined in a way that most people could only dream of. Zhang sat on his throne of carved jade, a simple book in his hand, looking out at his children and grandchildren who were the heirs to a peaceful universe. The wealth god system had become a silent partner, its missions completed, its purpose fulfilled, leaving Zhang as the true master of his fate. He had started as a boy with nothing, and he had ended as the father of a new world, a man who possessed all the riches of the earth but found his greatest wealth in the smiles of his 5 wives. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over his domain, the hidden dragon finally closed his eyes in a moment of pure, unadulterated happiness, knowing that his family would live in joy forever. Chapter 31, The Gateway to the Cosmos. With the clean infinity engine perfected, Zhang turned his gaze toward the Stargate Project, a system-guided initiative to create stable wormholes for instantaneous travel across the galaxy. This was no longer just about wealth, it was about the survival and expansion of the human spirit. Sophia Chen worked tirelessly at the core of the Dragon's Nest space station, her mind interfaced with the Wealth God System's celestial navigation module to map the ley lines of the universe. Su Yan managed the astronomical logistics, coordinating the construction of massive gate rings that would connect the Earth to distant, virgin worlds rich with resources and beauty. As the first gate flickered to life, glowing with a brilliant violet hue, Zhang stood at the threshold, his 5 wives by his side, ready to claim their place among the stars. The system chimed, acknowledging the expansion of his domain to a multi-planetary scale, granting him the galactic sovereign status. He was no longer just the richest man on Earth, he was the architect of a new cosmic order, a hidden dragon whose shadow now stretched across the light years, ensuring that the peace and prosperity he had cultivated in his Misty Valley would soon bloom on 1,000 different worlds. Chapter 32, The Council of the 5 Queens. As the first colonies were established on the lush plains of New Eden, Zhang realized that the administration of a galactic empire required more than just his singular will. He formalized the Council of the 5 Queens, granting each of his wives absolute authority over a specific sector of the new civilization. Su Yan became the Minister of Trade and Expansion, her sharp mind ensuring the economic stability of the colonies. Lin Xiaoluo became the Guardian of Life, overseeing the terraforming and health of new biomes. Tang Mei was named the High Commander of the Star Guards, protecting the frontier from unknown cosmic threats. Yi Shishir became the voice of unity, her songs and culture binding the distant settlers together. And Sophia Chan remained the oracle of science, pushing the boundaries of what was physically possible. Zhang Han remained the hidden dragon, the silent pillar of strength who supported their decisions from the shadows of his celestial palace. This structure ensured that the family remained the heart of the empire, their love and mutual respect serving as the blueprint for how millions of people should interact. The system rewarded this delegation of power by unlocking the collective harmony perk, which amplified the wives' abilities tenfold whenever they worked toward a common goal, making their combined leadership flawless. Chapter 33, The Whispers of Ancient Civilizations. During the exploration of a distant star system, Tang Mei's star guards discovered the ruins of a precursor race that had possessed a system similar to Zhang Han's own. This discovery sent shockwaves through the Wealth God system, triggering a deep history mission that compelled Zhang Han to investigate the origin of his power. He traveled to the ruins with Sophia, where they decoded ancient data crystals that spoke of a cosmic order of hidden dragons who had guided civilizations since the dawn of time. Zhang Han realized he was not an accident of fate, but the latest successor in an eternal lineage of guardians meant to steer the universe away from chaos. This revelation added a weight of sullen responsibility to his shoulders, transforming his journey from one of personal success to one of universal destiny. He spent months in meditation within the ancient halls, the system uploading eons of wisdom into his mind, refining his dragon physique into a celestial form that was nearly indestructible. His wife stayed by him, providing the emotional grounding he needed as he absorbed the staggering truth of his existence. He emerged from the ruins not as a man who had found a system, but as the system's true master, a dragon who had finally remembered his wings. Chapter 34, The Trial of the Seven Sons. The ancient families of the galaxy, remnants of the precursor race who had grown corrupt and bitter, viewed Zhang Han's rise as a threat to their stagnated rule. They challenged him to the trial of the Seven Sons, a series of impossible tasks designed to test his wealth, his wisdom, and his heart. Zhang Han accepted, knowing that to secure a peaceful future for his children, he had to prove his dominance over the old guard once and for all. He utilized his trillions of system credits to build entire sunshields in days, solved riddles that had baffled philosophers for millennia, and showed a level of mercy to his enemies that the old rulers couldn't comprehend. His wives played crucial roles, each using their unique strengths to help him overcome the trials, demonstrating that the hidden dragon's true power lay in his ability to inspire love and loyalty. In the final trial, he had to sacrifice a portion of his own life force to save a dying star system, a feat he accomplished without hesitation. The ancient families were forced to bow before him, recognizing that his wealth god spirit was pure and his hidden dragon authority was absolute. The system celebrated this victory by granting him the Universal Peerless title, making him the highest-ranking entity in the known cosmos. Chapter 35, The Return to the Blue Marble. After decades of galactic expansion, Zhang Han felt a deep, nostalgic pull toward the Earth, the place where his journey had begun as a simple middle-class student. He returned to his original university city in a modest disguise, walking the same streets where he had once struggled to pay for his meals. He visited his old dormitory, now a historical landmark he secretly funded, and sat on the same bench where the wealth god system had first awakened. His 5 wives joined him, dressed in simple clothes, enjoying the anonymity of the bustling city that had no idea its sovereign was walking among them. This trip served as a grounding ritual, a system-suggested task to ensure that Zhang Han's heart remained connected to the humble roots that had made him a virtuous leader. He realized that despite his galactic empire and godlike power, his greatest achievement was still the simple fact that he had remained true to himself and the people he loved. He made a massive, anonymous donation to the university, ensuring that every middle-class student with a dream would have the resources to succeed without needing a system. As he left the city, he felt the dragon's soul within him glowing with a peaceful, steady light, ready to return to the stars with a renewed sense of purpose. Chapter 36, The Harmony of the Multiverse. The wealth god system reached its final evolution, unlocking the multiversal resonance tier, which allowed Zhang Han to perceive and influence parallel realities. He saw versions of himself who had failed, who had become tyrants, or who had never found the system at all, and he felt a profound sense of gratitude for the path he had walked. He used his power to subtly tip the scales in those other worlds, acting as a hidden dragon across the dimensions to ensure that Zhang Han in every reality found a measure of peace. This cosmic work was exhausting, but it was supported by the soul link he shared with his 5 wives, whose love acted as a tether to his primary existence. They sat with him in the chamber of realities, their presence a constant reminder of the happiness they had built together. Sophia helped him manage the quantum data, while Xiaoluo ensured his mental health remained stable through the strain of infinite perception. This chapter of his life was one of quiet, profound contemplation, as he became a guardian not just of one galaxy, but of the very concept of harmony across all possible worlds. He was the wealth god of existence itself, yet he still preferred the quiet evenings in his garden, holding the hands of the women who made his reality worth living. Chapter 37, The Great Celestial Banquet. To celebrate a century of peace and the successful colonization of the Centauri Reach, Zhang Han hosted a celestial banquet that spanned 7 planets and was broadcast to every corner of the empire. It was a festival of culture, art, and technology, headlined by Yi Shishir, whose music now vibrated with the harmonies of the spheres. Millions of people from different backgrounds, humans, cyborgs, and even peaceful alien species, celebrated the prosperity that the hidden dragon had brought to the universe. Zhang Han and his 5 wives appeared briefly on each world, their presence a source of immense inspiration and comfort to their subjects. They didn't appear as distant deities, but as a happy, loving family, showing the world that the ultimate goal of all wealth and power was the cultivation of a joyful home. The banquet was the highest point of public merit the system had ever recorded, unlocking the eternal dynasty blessing for Zhang Han's lineage. As the festival reached its peak, the sky above the dragon's nest was filled with artificial nebulae that formed the shape of a golden dragon, a symbol of the invisible protector who watched over them all. Zhang Han watched the display with a smile, his arm around Su Yan, knowing that he had truly turned the universe into a place of light. Chapter 38, The Education of the Star Heirs. The children and grandchildren of Zhang Han were now leaders in their own right, and he dedicated a significant portion of his time to their final dragon training. He taught them the art of the hidden hand, the philosophy of ruling without being seen, and the importance of maintaining the wealth god's virtue above all else. He took his youngest grandson to a remote, developing world, showing him how to help a civilization grow through subtle guidance rather than overwhelming force. His wives each mentored the heirs in their respective fields. Tang Mei taught them the discipline of the soul, Sophia the curiosity of the mind, and Xiaoluo the empathy of the heart. The Zhang family was now a sprawling, harmonious dynasty that functioned as the secret backbone of the galactic economy and peace. They were taught that being a hidden dragon was not about hiding out of fear, but hiding out of respect for the free will of those they protected. Zhang Han watched the younger generation take their first steps into the deeper mysteries of the system, confident that the legacy of the wealth god was in safe hands. He felt a sense of completion, a realization that his work was no longer about doing, but about being the foundation upon which others could build their own legends. Chapter 39, The Transcendence of the System. A day came when the wealth god system spoke to Zhang Han not as a mechanical interface, but as a peer, announcing that its mission on Earth and beyond was officially complete. It offered Zhang Han the choice to merge fully with the system and become a pure entity of cosmic energy, or to stay as he was and let the system vanish into the background of his soul. Zhang Han looked at his 5 wives, who had aged only slightly into a state of timeless, elegant beauty, and his children, and his vibrant, peaceful empire, and he chose to remain a man. He realized that the system was just a tool, and that the true wealth god was the love and character he had built with his own hands and heart. The azure screens and golden chimes faded away, leaving Zhang Han with only his immense wisdom, his vast resources, and his powerful family. He felt a sudden, incredible lightness, as if he had finally shed a suit of armor he had been wearing for 100 years. He was still the hidden dragon, but now his power was entirely his own, a natural extension of his matured soul. He walked out into the garden and took a deep breath of the fresh, floral air, feeling more alive and more successful than he ever had when the system was prompting his every move. Chapter 40, The Eternal Peace of the Dragon's Valley. The final chapter of this era sees Zhang Han returning to his Misty Valley estate on Earth, which had become a sacred sanctuary known only to his family and the highest leaders of the world. He lived there in a state of legendary peace, a hidden dragon who had conquered the stars but preferred the quiet company of his 5 wives. They spent their days in simple pleasures, gardening, reading, and watching the sunset over the mountains, their lives a testament to the fact that true success is found in a happy home. Su Yan still reviewed the occasional galactic report, Lin Xiaoluo attended to the valley's rare flora, Tang Mei practiced her forms in the morning mist, Yi Shishir sang to the birds, and Sophia pondered the mysteries of the multiverse. They were a single, harmonious unit, a powerful family that coexisted in joy and mutual respect, their love having grown deeper with every passing century. Zhang Han sat on his porch, a cup of tea in his hand, looking at the beautiful women who had been his partners through the most incredible journey in human history. He was the richest person to ever exist, the most powerful sovereign of the stars, and the ultimate hidden dragon, but in his heart, he was still just the boy who had once moved to the city, grateful for the accident that had led him to this perfect, eternal family. Chapter 41, The Pulse of the Infinite. With the wealth god system fully integrated into his soul, Zhang Han no longer saw the world through digital screens or calculated percentages, instead, he felt the very heartbeat of the universe as a rhythmic vibration in his own chest. This new level of transcendence allowed him to sense the needs of distant star systems and the hidden potential in every living soul, turning his hidden dragon status into a form of omnipresent guardianship. He spent his mornings in deep meditation on the highest peak of the Dragon Valley, his consciousness expanding to touch the minds of his 5 wives, ensuring their spirits remained as vibrant and youthful as the day they first met. Su Yan's strategic genius, Lin Xiaoluo's boundless compassion, Tang Mei's unyielding courage, Yi Shishir's spiritual resonance, and Sophia Chen's cosmic curiosity all flowed into him, creating a feedback loop of infinite growth. He realized that the wealth the system had originally promised was merely a bridge to this state of universal awareness, where the true currency was the harmony of all things. As he opened his eyes, the misty valley seemed to glow with a celestial light, a reflection of the internal sun that now powered his every thought. He was no longer a man seeking success, he was the personification of success itself, a silent force of nature that ensured the stability of the cosmos through his mere existence. Chapter 41, The Pulse of the Infinite. With the wealth god system fully integrated into his soul, Zhang Han no longer saw the world through digital screens or calculated percentages, instead, he felt the very heartbeat of the universe as a rhythmic vibration in his own chest. This new level of transcendence allowed him to sense the needs of distant star systems and the hidden potential in every living soul, turning his hidden dragon status into a form of omnipresent guardianship. He spent his mornings in deep meditation on the highest. Chapter 42, The Patriarch of a Million Worlds. As the centuries turned into millennia, the Zhang bloodline expanded until its descendants were leaders, artists, and protectors on a million different worlds, each carrying a spark of the hidden dragon spirit. Zhang Han remained the Grand Patriarch, a figure of mythic proportions who occasionally appeared in the dreams of his heirs to offer a word of wisdom or a subtle nudge toward virtue. He hosted a grand family convergence every century within the hidden estate, where the most worthy of his descendants were invited to walk the sacred halls and learn from the 5 queens. Despite the vastness of his dynasty, Zhang Han ensured that the core values of his middle-class upbringing, humility, hard work, and loyalty, remained the guiding stars of the Zhang name. He watched with satisfaction as his family tree became a forest of light, each branch contributing to the peace and prosperity of the galactic civilization he had built. His 5 wives took great joy in mentoring the younger generations, their individual personalities shaping the diverse talents of their great-great-grandchildren. In this chapter of his life, Zhang Han found his greatest wealth not in the vaults of his banks, but in the laughter and integrity of the millions who called him father, a legacy that outweighed all the gold in the universe. Chapter 43, The Shadow of Entropy. A final, cosmic challenge arose when a rift in the fabric of spacetime began to bleed entropy, a force of pure nothingness that threatened to unravel the progress of the galactic era. The world's greatest scientists and warriors were helpless against this silent, creeping void, which consumed entire star systems without leaving a trace. Zhang Han knew that this was the ultimate mission, a test not of his wealth or power, but of the purity of his dragon soul and the strength of his family's bond. He gathered his 5 wives in the center of the estate, their hands joined in a circle of absolute trust, as he channeled the entirety of his wealth god essence into a single point of light. Each wife contributed her unique energy, Su Yan's order, Xiaoluo's life force, Mei's defiance, Shishir's harmony, and Sophia's logic. Together, they projected a field of eternal harmony that swept across the galaxy, sealing the rift and turning the entropy back into raw, creative energy. The effort left the universe changed, infused with a new level of resilience that ensured it would never again be threatened by the void. Zhang Han and his wives emerged from the ordeal exhausted but triumphant, their love having proven itself to be the only force in existence capable of defying the end of time itself. Chapter 44, The Alchemy of the Five Hearts. Following the battle with entropy, the bond between Zhang Han and his 5 wives reached a state of divine alchemy, where their thoughts and emotions became perfectly synchronized across all distances. They no longer needed words to communicate. A single glance from Su Yan could convey a complex economic strategy, while a soft smile from Lin Xiaoluo provided Zhang Han with centuries of comfort. They moved through the estate as a single, multifaceted entity, their diverse backgrounds having finally fused into a perfect prism of human experience. This harmony was the true God-tier reward of the system, a state of relational perfection that transformed their daily lives into a continuous celebration of existence. They would often spend decades in a state of shared dreamwalking, exploring the beauty of the universe's most remote corners without ever leaving the comfort of their garden. Zhang Han realized that the CEO, the nurse, the athlete, the star, and the scientist were not just his wives, but the 5 pillars that supported his very soul. Without them, he would have been a cold, distant god. With them, he remained a man capable of feeling the simplest joys of a summer afternoon. Their love was the ultimate investment, one that had yielded a return of infinite, unchanging happiness. Chapter 45, The Sanctuary of Chosen Souls. In a final act of public philanthropy, Zhang Han decided to open the outer edges of the Dragon Valley to a few chosen souls, individuals from across the galaxy who had shown extraordinary virtue but had suffered immense loss. He turned this outer sanctuary into a place of healing and enlightenment, where the weary could rediscover their purpose under the subtle guidance of the hidden dragon. Lin Xiaoluo personally oversaw the healing of their spirits, while Tang Mei taught them the discipline of the body and Yi Shishir sang them the songs of the stars. This community became a living testament to Zhang Han's philosophy, a microcosm of peace that served as a model for the rest of the galaxy to follow. Zhang Han remained a hidden figure even within this sanctuary, appearing only as a kind, middle-aged man who worked in the gardens and offered simple, profound advice to those who crossed his path. He found a deep, quiet satisfaction in watching these broken souls bloom into new lives, knowing that his wealth was now being used to buy the most valuable thing of all, hope. The system, though silent, glowed with a golden light in the depths of his mind, acknowledging that its original purpose of creating a successful person had been fulfilled in the most meaningful way possible. Chapter 46, The Galactic Renaissance of Art and Spirit. Under the subtle influence of the Zhang family, the galaxy entered its second renaissance, where the focus shifted from technological expansion to the exploration of art, music, and the human spirit. Yi Shishir became the patron of this era, her influence sparking a wave of creativity that saw the construction of musical planets and sculpted nebulae. Zhang Han supported this cultural explosion by funding millions of scholarships and building vast universities of the soul, where people could learn the secrets of harmony that he and his wives had mastered. The economy of the galaxy shifted from one of scarcity to one of creative contribution, where a beautiful poem was considered more valuable than a mountain of gold. Su Yan managed this transition with her usual brilliance, creating a merit-based system that rewarded kindness and creativity over mere profit. Zhang Han watched as the universe became a canvas of light and color, a beautiful, vibrant reflection of the joy he found in his own home. He realized that a world that valued beauty would never return to the wars of his youth, and he felt a profound sense of peace knowing that his hidden dragon wings had shielded the galaxy long enough for it to find its own light. Chapter 47, The Mystery of the First Cause. Driven by a final, lingering curiosity, Zhang Han and Sophia Chen embarked on a journey to the very edge of the universe to discover the true origin of the wealth god system. They traveled to the central point of creation, a place where time and space were born, and there they found a mirror of pure consciousness. As Zhang Han looked into the mirror, he saw not a god or an alien, but a reflection of his own future self, a version of Zhang Han from the end of time who had sent the system back to his younger self to ensure the survival of the cosmos. He realized that the system was not a gift from a stranger, but a causal loop of his own making, a testament to the infinite potential that had always lived within his middle-class heart. This revelation brought his journey to a full, perfect circle, stripping away the last of his questions and leaving him with a sense of total, unified purpose. He returned to the Dragon Valley not as a chosen one, but as the master of his own destiny, knowing that he had always been the architect of his success. He shared this secret only with his 5 wives, who smiled in understanding, for they had always known that Zhang Han's true power came not from a machine, but from the man he chose to be. Chapter 48, The Passing of the Dragon's Mantle. As he approached his 10,000th year, Zhang Han gathered his eldest and most virtuous son, a man who possessed his father's calm and his mother's brilliance, and prepared him to become the next hidden dragon. He didn't give him a system or a bank account, instead, he gave him the legacy of the middle-class heart, a set of values that would keep him grounded as he watched over the stars. Zhang Han and his 5 wives stepped back from the day-to-day management of the galaxy, officially entering a state of eternal retirement within the inner sanctum of the Misty Valley. They watched as the new generation took the reins of power, leading with the same compassion and wisdom that Zhang Han had modeled for millennia. The transition was seamless, a testament to the strength of the foundation Zhang Han had built, ensuring that the Zhang dynasty would remain a force for good until the end of time. Zhang Han felt a sense of liberation as the mantle of responsibility passed to his son, his soul finally free to focus entirely on the love of his family. He was no longer the sovereign of the stars, he was once again just Zhang Han, a man who had gone to the city, found a miracle, and used it to build a home that would last forever. Chapter 49, The Eternal Harmony of the Dragon Valley. The final years of Zhang Han's legend were spent in a state of absolute harmony, a daily life that was as simple as it was profound. He and his 5 wives, Su Yan, Lin Xiaoluo, Tang Mei, Yi Shishir, and Sophia Chen, lived together in a beautiful, timeless dance of affection and mutual respect. They would spend their mornings tending the gardens, their afternoons reading in the library, and their evenings watching the stars they had once ruled, their laughter echoing through the Misty Valley like a song of peace. There were no more wars to fight, no more markets to conquer, and no more systems to master. There was only the quiet, enduring love that had grown between them over the eons. The wives had become a single, harmonious family, their initial differences having been polished by time into a collective soul that perfectly complemented Zhang Han's own. They were the richest people in history, but they lived with a simplicity that would have put a monk to shame, their only treasure being the company of one another. Zhang Han would often look at his 5 queens and feel a surge of gratitude that eclipsed all his other achievements, knowing that this simple, happy family was the true peak of his journey. Chapter 50, The Legend of the Hidden Dragon. The story of Zhang Han, the middle-class boy who moved to the city and found a wealth god system, became the foundational myth of the galactic civilization, a story of hope and transformation that would be told for eternity. Though he lived in total seclusion, his influence was felt in every peaceful breath the universe took, a hidden dragon whose shadow was the light of the stars. In the end, Zhang Han sat on his porch in the Misty Valley, the 5 most beautiful and brilliant women in history by his side, watching the final sunset of an era. He had become the ultimate success not because of his trillions, but because he had remained a good man who loved his family and protected his world. As the stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, Zhang Han took a final sip of tea, closed his eyes, and felt the warm hands of his wives on his own, a powerful, harmonious family living together in eternal joy. The hidden dragon had finally found his perfect rest, leaving behind a universe that was kinder, brighter, and infinitely more beautiful because he had dared to dream of something more than a middle-class life. The journey was complete, the system was gone, and only the love remained, a legendary legacy that would never fade, a happy family living in harmony forever.
If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next chapter, and share your thoughts in the comments below.